Ruchi ji and Professor Dwivedi for inviting me here. I'm so happy to be amongst an audience which comprises of women but equally of men. Because as you can see from the title of the book, I rarely get a chance to talk to men, right? When I say lady or the boss, men don't want to sit in the audience. Absolutely. So therefore I'm doubly pleased to be here. I've written 2 books. The first book is called Lady or Not a Man, and the second book, Lady or the Boss, which really talks to both men and women about this whole concept of diversity and what is happening. So why did I write this book, or why did I write the first book? All of you would have heard of King Hammurabi, right? King Hammurabi was a Babylonian king in the 6th century BC. And he came out with a civil code which has become the foundation of all the legal laws that have come out later on. Now in that code that he came out with in 6th century BC, there is a section which talks about murder and what are the punishments to be meted out for different types of murder. So he says there that if a man kills another man, he is punishable by death. If a man kills another man's cattle, he has to pay him 4 minas of gold. If a man kills another man's wife, he has to pay him 2 minas of silver. This was a code that came out in 6th century BC, where the price of a woman's life was 1/8 the price of the cattle that belonged to the man. Now, why were women treated so unequally? Why was there such a difference? No biologist, sociologist, psychologist has ever been able to come up with the answer. But the fact remains that men and women by society have been treated unequally forever and ever and ever. Of course, things have improved in so many years, from what Hammurabi wrote to what is happening today. But they still haven't improved enough for us to stop calling women a diverse set. After all, women are 50% of the world's population. So why do we still say diversity when we talk about women? Because the fact is that there is still inequality. Whether there is inequality in education, whether there is inequality in income, whether there is inequality in the biases that surround women, but there is inequality. It is said that at the current pace of change, it will take 108 years for there to be gender equality. 108 years more before men and women are treated equally by society at this pace of change. And which is why I wrote both the books. Because I strongly believe that any society cannot be a progressive society unless there is equality amongst the genders. And then we have to start thinking about the other types of diversity that we have to take care of. Generational diversity, cultural diversity. And as the world becomes more and more polarized and divisive, men and women have to come together and be equal partners in everything. From a business perspective, if you look at the World Economic Forum's report, there will be a 30% improvement in India's GDP if men and women work to their full potential. There will be a $28 trillion impact on the world's economy if women work to their full potential. In organizations, there is a 16% upswing on profitability if there are women senior managers. And why are things not changing? Why is it that we recognize that we want equality? Why is it that we recognize businesses will do well, countries will do well, societies will do well? So what is stopping from there being an equal space for both genders? And I think, of course, society, the way society has evolved, there are biases that operate. But there are equally things that men can do and equally things that women can do to change their lot. I think women have to stop. Is this better? Okay. So there are a lot of things women themselves can do. And the lessons in the book are largely for women, equally for men. That if we truly want an equal society, if we truly want diversity to flourish, what is it that we need to change about ourselves as women? Equally, what do we expect the men in our lives, our fathers, our husbands, our brothers, our colleagues at work, what do they need to do to step up and support this endeavor? So let me talk first to the women in the audience. So what are the 2-3 things that I think women are still doing wrong? While society is encouraging them, organizations like my organization, or even what is happening at your university, where there is so much, I was just hearing from Ruchiji that at a senior level that you have so many, your dean and your chancellor of course, and you have so many women at the senior level. Why is it that we start off by recruiting a lot of women at the bottom of the pyramid? By the time they have spent 10 years working, half of them leave. By the time they've spent 20 years working, 3/4 of them leave. So then there is only 5% at the top. And you know, we all talk about the glass ceiling, but actually it's not so much about the glass ceiling as much it is about the leaky pipeline. So, you know, there are students in the audience, you are teachers and professors yourself. I think the message and the conversations you need to have with the young girls is what is happening that 3/4 of them are leaving the profession they chose to get educated for. 3/4 of them in 2019 even, currently there are only 15% women working beyond senior management and above, middle management and above. So what is going wrong? So the first thing that really happens is, you know, when they come in and I speak at colleges and forums such as this, and I ask all the women or the students in the audience, so tell me, how many of you are going to work? So all of them put up their hands. Of course we are going to work, madam, what are you saying? I said, how many of you will be working after 30 years? All of them say, we have, you know, we are talented, we are skilled, we come first in our class. What nonsense are you talking? Of course all of us will work. And then when I tell them only 10 of you out of a batch of 100 will be working, they don't believe me. But that's the fact that repeatedly is coming out every year, every year. I recruit so many women, within 5 years they've left and gone. So what happens? So the first thing that happens when they join, they're 21 and 22 and they're enthusiastic and smart and they do so well because they're genuinely hardworking and talented. And then by the time 25, 26, they come to me, ma'am, I'm getting married. So I say, congratulations. But the first thought that's going through my mind is, my God, she's going to leave. So I say, okay. So very gently I ask them, acha, you're getting married. What does the guy do? Because I'm now trying to figure out, is he in the same city? Will he leave? Will she leave because he's going to be in another city? I start very gently asking them, ma'am, but you know, he looks exactly like Ranbir Kapoor. Yeah, so, okay, but that's very nice, but is he in the same city? What are your plans? Have you spoken about your career? What are you going to do after marriage? No ma'am, yesterday he sent me 50 flowers and then in the night he speaks to me for 1 hour and then he calls me Meri Dil Ki Rani. And you know, so all this is happening and there's so much, right? So they're so much in love and all those pink flowers and red roses and balloons are being given that nobody understands that they need to have this conversation about their career. So I'm gently trying to explain to them, but they're so much in love. And how do I tell them that love lasts only for 3 years? After that it goes away, right? But they don't get it. At that moment they don't get it. So because he looks exactly like Ranbir Kapoor. So they don't have these conversations. And I keep on telling them repeatedly that the single most important career decision you will take is who you will marry. It's the single most important career decision, because without the support of a good spouse, having dual careers is very, very tough. But then they don't get it. So anyway, they get married and luckily, you know, some of them stay, many of them leave. Bhagwan ka diya hua hamare paas sab kuch hai, my mother-in-law is saying, to kyun kaam karne ki zarurat hai? But I tell them, Bhagwan ka diya hua sab kuch hai ki wajah se tum nahi kaam kar rahi thi. Tum kaam kar rahi thi because you had that education in you. You had the desire to be financially independent. So why are you letting go of that? Even the women who stay back for the next 5 years, the next stage, again, several of them drop out. Why do they drop out? because they have kids. And the guilt that comes associated with having a small baby you are leaving at home is unimaginable. And I think the men in the audience need to understand what a woman goes through when she has a small baby. So many of my girls will come back and tell me that, ma'am, you know, every morning when I get up and I'm getting ready to go to work, and my baby is standing there and he's pulling my pallu and said, Mama, don't go to work, Mama, don't go to work, and he's crying. Nothing is worth my baby's tears. And I want to leave. And they're going through immense guilt. And I tell them, you know, at this moment you're feeling bad because the kid is crying, but the kid one day will grow up. Then when they're 16, they go away to hostel. Then what will you do? So if you think that you will leave your job and stay at home and not feel guilty, that's not going to happen. Because if you leave your job and stay at home, you will continue to feel guilty. You will feel guilty about the education you wasted. You will feel guilty about the fact that when your husband wants to become an entrepreneur, you don't have the dual income to support him. You will feel guilty about the fact that now I want to give my kid some special, send him to a fancy school, give him a special education. You don't have, there's only a single income to fall back on. So guilt will always remain. You decide which guilt you are comfortable living with. And if you believe you will not feel guilty, that's not going to happen. For example, my son is 26 years old. When he was 6, he had chicken pox and I left him at home with my mom because I had a project to work on. And I didn't take care of him at that time. Even now I feel guilty about it. So I tell him, Siddharth, I think I've been a horrible mom, na? When you had chicken pox, I left you at home. I still feel guilty. He's forgotten, but I still carry that baggage of guilt. So the guilt is not going to go away. And you have to just decide which guilt do you want to live with. Then women, some of them listen to me and stay back. And then they reach a particular level. After that, again, they sort of stagnate. So now they become CXOs, or they become senior vice president, or reasonably senior in the organization. But again, there is a level beyond which they are not growing. Why is that happening? Because now they've stayed back, they've dealt with the guilt, they've dealt with the difficulties of managing a double income, they've dealt with all the tanas they hear from, oh, what a horrible mom, kaam pe jati hai, bacche ko creche mein chhod ke jati hai, etc., etc. At this stage, why are they not going up to the next level? And I think that's a lot to do with the tentativeness and lack of confidence inside women. So there's a McKinsey report that says, when they ask equally competent men and women at a certain level who've got the same feedback from the organization, they've been high achievers, they've got a 5-star rating from their bosses, same level of competence. They ask the men, how many of you think you'll reach the top? So 79% of the men think they'll reach the top. They ask the women, how many of you will reach the top? Only 55% or something said they will reach the top. So a man is naturally, from the time he is born only, he thinks he should become CEO. And the woman is always, nahi. And I keep on pushing my women and saying, you are ready, take up the next promotion, take up the next level. They are not doing it. Because in their heart, they suffer from this imposter syndrome. That I to yahan par luck se pahunch gayi. Nobody accepts that mere talent ki wajah se main yahan pahunchi hu. So I'll talk to a senior business head of mine. I have around 5-6 CEOs working for me. So I'll talk to a male CEO and he's done well in his business, and I'll ask him, so tell me, Ashit, this year your business has been very good. What happened? What has it? Oh boss, I thought of this strategy and then I told my team align behind me, and then I went and met the client and then मैंने तो तोड़ दिया, and बस क्या मैं बोलूँ आपको, मेरे दिमाग में जो idea आया. And I asked the woman, so Rachna, you've done very well this year. So what is the reason you've done well? Ma'am, I'd like to thank God. And I'd like to thank everybody around me. Never will she say कि मेरी वजह से कुछ हुआ. Whereas all the men are saying, मैंने सोचा. And the fact is that you can't blame either the men or the women. Because what is our background? Let's think about it. So when we were all cave men and cave women, so the men were hunters. They had to go out and be larger than the prey to kill the prey. Na? So red paint, feathers, dal ke jate the. That's how men hunted. Whereas if women had to stay in the cave and get along with the other women, तो उनके सामने मैं हवा भरना करूँगी or not, the other women will throw me out of the cave, na? So I have to say, oh, how nice, I love the sari you're wearing. She said, oh, I love the sari you're wearing also. No. So we are trying to collaborate and get along with each other. Because we are trying to collaborate and get along with each other, we never say we are great. Because if you have to be liked and popular. No, you can't say that I'm so great. But the world has changed today. Today, equally, we have become hunters, right? So unless we go out and speak about ourselves, unless we say that we deserve to be paid this much, unless we deserve to say, I did this because of my talent, unless we build that confidence inside of ourselves, the world is not going to help you. So, I've been married for 30 years now. So, at my 25th wedding anniversary, I still remember, we got up in the morning and we were having coffee. And my husband was sitting and looking very lovingly at me. So, I got very excited. At 25 years, husband looks lovingly at you, right? So I said to him, Sanjay, what are you thinking? I thought kuch compliments milenge na. I said, Sanjay, what are you thinking? So he said, very loving look. I've just been thinking that in these 25 years, what a wonderful husband I've been. So, this is the natural default way men behave. And the natural default way women behave is, it's not because of me, मैं तो luck की वजह से यहाँ आ गई, मेरे को किसी ने help कर दिया, नहीं तो, and we keep on behaving like that, we neither want to own our success, we neither want to celebrate our success, we want to live in that victim zone of, that suffering Sita, कि मैं तो suffer ही करती रहती हूँ और मेरे को, to be a good Bharatiya Nari, I have to suffer. So you get up in the morning and suffer, then you go to work, you're suffering because itna problem hai. Then you come back home and the husband is saying कि अच्छा इतनी late आई है तू बाहर से खाना मंगा लेते, मैगी नूडल्स खा लेते, नहीं मैं गरम चपाती बनाऊंगी. So why are you making hotter chapati? Husband is not even asking for it. The next morning then you can go and say, हाय मैं कितना सफर करती हूँ, मैंने कल 10 बजे जाके गरम चपाती बनाई. So we are living in this victim mentality. And somewhere we have to get out and say, no, we are the heroines of our story. We are no longer the victims. And unless we start changing that narrative about ourselves, the world will continue to treat us like that. Because no society wants to change the status quo. So I talk to all the young boys and ask them, okay, tell me, how many of you want working wives? What is the answer I get? What percentage do you think I get an answer for? How many of you want working wives? What do they And these are bright MBA students, millennials, the evolved generation. How many of them would say they've got, what percentage do you think say they want working wives? What percentage? 10%, 15%, 20% is the answer. Because they've been brought up by non-working mothers. And we bring up, and that is the sad reality of Indian society, we bring up our boys to be that Raja Beta, Acha, Garam Chapati, Road, Chai De Diya. No, I call them the TLTs, Tauliya Lao types. Pushpa, मेरा towel किधर है? अरे 30 साल से नहाने जा रहे हो, अपना towel ही लेके जा सकते हैं? Right or wrong? True. Ruchi ji is saying true. Very, very vehemently she is saying true. So that's how, and that's why they have not seen a working mother. Therefore, they are not happy with the change in status quo. अगर बीवी में मेरी काम करेगी तो घर का कौन ध्यान रखेगा, बच्चे का कौन ध्यान रखेगा, मेरे को कुछ करना पड़ेगा. वो तो मेरी आदत नहीं है, मेरे को तो पता भी नहीं है खाना कैसे बनाना है, मेरे को तो पता है, मेरे को तो गरम चाय मिलती है जब मैं घर जाता हूँ. So I do this experiment in my office when I go down in a canteen and I see that the guys who have non-working wives, they come with a 7-tier dabba. Papad, achar, chawal, dal, roti, dessert. And the guys who have working wives come with a sandwich. So this dynamic is not easy to change, okay? And we have equally stereotyped our men, no? Just as we say that women have got stereotyped in being this victim, in this suffering Sita, and in this multitasking, perfectionist, we have equally stereotyped our men into being the chief wage earner. So if a woman says कि अच्छा मैं अपनी नौकरी, she wants to actually run away from all the hard work and all the pressure of her job. So she's when she goes back, when she leaves her job, and says नहीं, I want to get in touch with my inner self and I want to do pottery. So everybody says देखा कितना sacrifice कर दिया. But if a guy says I want to get in touch with my inner self and do pottery, what will we say to him? We'll say कि निकम्मा, useless. Right. I have friends where the husbands have decided to stay at home and the wives are working because he could be a consultant, she couldn't be, so many reasons. But nobody applauds those guys. They all just say कि recession, इसलिए नौकरी नहीं मिली, बेचारा. We know who wears the pants in the house, which is so wrong because they are the ones who are trying to change the status quo. I'm very comfortable, like I don't know cooking at all. My husband manages the kitchen at home. I would have fed my son Maggi noodles and thumbs up. He's the one who thinks of nutrition, etc., etc. So once we moved to a new house and our neighbors came over and then they looked at me and said, we didn't have help at home that day. So they looked at me and said, Bhabhi ji, chai ho jaye. So I, first of all, I hate being called Bhabhi ji, okay? Bhabhi ji, chai ho jaye. मेरे को चाय बनानी नहीं आती, संजय चाय बनाएंगे. They were so horrified. They said, क्या बात कर रही हैं आप? I said, we'll get up and make tea. Sanjay got up and he said, अच्छा अदरक वाली चाय बनाओ, इलायची वाली चाय बनाओ, and he made and nicely made tea and gave it to them. They were so horrified. They've never come back to my house after that. Because people don't want the status quo changed. But unless we change the status quo, unless we realize that we have to become hunters and nurturers, and our husbands have to become nurturers and hunters. How will we change society? How will we all become more equal? And I think that's the push you have to do, I have to do. That's why I wrote the books. That's why I want every young woman to say that, I will be financially independent. Because we are born in a reasonably privileged background. What women don't understand is the respect that comes with financial independence. They don't understand this. I have friends who teach village girls to become Anganwadi teachers, okay? And those girls understand this. They come back and tell that my friends that ma'am, अब हम 5,000 रुपया कमाने लगे हैं ना, अब हमारी mother-in-laws हमको बहुत अच्छे से बात करती है हमारे साथ. They understand the value of financial independence. And I see my girls who will say कि leave because their husbands look like Ranbir Kapoor and they can stay at home. Or, ma'am, see, I haven't changed my surname. उससे surname बदलने वो क्या independence दिखा रहे हो तुम? Salary कौन दे रहा है? तो घर का खर्चा कैसे चल रहा है? तुम्हारे husband से ले रहे हो ना पैसा? तो अपना surname नहीं बदला उसका क्या हुआ? This false sense of independence is not something that is true. Independence is when we are equal partners with our husbands. We support him. Why should he only be the chief wage earner? Why shouldn't it be a double income? Equally, our husbands support us by getting up and helping take care of the children or making tea. That's the only way we will quicken this pace of change. And we have to do that for society, for our children's sake. Our daughters and sons have to grow up to see each other as equals. We have to change the way we are bringing up our sons by no longer making them be Raja Betas. Equally, we have to change how we bring up our daughters. We're bringing up our daughters to minimize themselves. जोर से मत बात करो, लाल लिपस्टिक मत लगाओ, छोटे कपड़े मत पहनो, दांत दिखा के क्यों हंसती हो. We bring them up to occupy lesser spaces than they deserve. So how will they grow up to be confident women? We think we are protecting them, but actually we are bonsaiing them. Whereas we are allowing our sons to grow up to be thinking that the world is meant to revolve around them. Neither of which is true. We have to bring up our daughters to be stronger and our boys to be gentler. Thank you so much.
I agree that there should be love and respect equally for both in the house. My question is that I read a statement of Kiran Bedi that every woman is a working woman, only few are salaried. So, don't you think that those who are working at home, they are working and they need to get, I mean, can't they be the boss at home? Like you said, lady, you are the boss. Do they have to copy the men? Or, I mean, because everyone is great in their own respect. Like even anatomically, we are different. So they have different place. And if you study psychology of men and women, like women, they feel pleasure by caring. And the men, they feel pleasure in different ways. So if we copy and like, the communist, the Marxist idea that artificially try to make everyone equal. So that will create the chaos cycle. Of course, we have to change according to changing times, but like I said, every woman is a working woman, only few are salaried. So can you please elaborate on this?
So that was a very detailed question and quite a provocative one. So I'll give three different answers. Break it up into three parts and answer. First and foremost, my opinion, and I say that very thing that I believe that every individual has to be an economically independent individual. That is my belief. It may not be everybody else's belief, right? That's okay. That's okay. It's okay. I think that if we are born on this earth, we are meant to value add to this earth and value add to ourselves. The only way we can do that if we have that independence, financial independence, then it leads to many other forms of independence. Point one. Many people may not believe with it and they are entitled to their opinion. Now let's move to the second thing. That is a woman who's at a stay-at-home mom doing a lesser job. She's also working. She may not be paid and salaried as you rightly say, but of course she's doing a wonderful job. She's bringing up two great children. She's taking care of the house. She's ensuring that the house is taken care of so the husband can maybe concentrate fully on his work, etc., etc. There is nothing wrong with that. However, it should be her personal choice. And I say that repeatedly. If you choose to stay at home, nothing wrong with it as long as you decided it. If you want to take up pottery, because after all, the world also needs artists and singers and tarot card readers and entrepreneurs, etc., etc. So if you choose to do that, it is of your own volition. Again, there is nothing wrong with that. But it should not be a choice that has been forced upon you, thrust upon you. Many women I meet will tell me that, I wish I had done things differently. I wish I had had support of people around me, then I would have worked. That is something I'm not comfortable with. And that, rather than regretting it later, I encourage them to ask for support earlier in their career. Okay? As long as there are no regrets, that's fine. But regrets happen when you can't make your own choices. So we should ask women that, okay, you decided, Mummy, you decided to stay at home. Did you do it out of your choice? And if she says yes, perfectly fine. The third point that I want to make to you, which is, anatomically they're different, they're meant to do different things. Of course, men and women, that's why it's called diversity, right? And that's why my first book was called Lady or Not a Man. I don't want women to become man-like. Why should women copy men? Are women lesser than men? No, they're different. Why should they copy them? There'll be no diversity, if every woman starts behaving like a man. So, lady, you're not supposed to be a man. You're supposed to be your own unique individual self. This point that you brought about caring, I have seen in my own organizations, which is why I say diversity is important. That the more women in an organization, the organization not only does well from a profitability point of view, but the culture of the organization becomes far better. This caring and nurturing that women bring to the office, it rubs off on the men. I have seen my male managers become better managers, better leaders, and better husbands at home because they work with more women. Because they pick up that caring, nurturing part of the women and emulate them. Similarly, women pick up the aggression from men and emulate it. So that caring is very much required in organizations and businesses today.
I want to add one more thing. Who decided that men can do this and women can do this? Who decided this? Think about it, you will understand why this is so.
Good afternoon, ma'am. Ma'am, I just want to ask one point actually. Like since my birth, I have seen my mother as a housewife, and like my father have supported her all the times. Like 1 year ago, we decided that our mother deserves more respect instead of being in society and kitty parties. So what we were thinking that we tried to help her to establish a new business which she can operate from home only. So, like, while we supported her, so she was being complex and what she was thinking that's what society will actually think on that matter. So, ma'am, while men like, not only like me or my family or my father, but like all the men who are trying to support the women, but what women is imposed on that what society will exactly think on that matter. So how can we will remove this fact from the lady and we can support them. Yes, you are made of being one more step ahead to be in the society and contribute what efforts you are related to. So I just want to ask on that matter.
First of all, wonderful that you and your father is doing this. Really wonderful, and we need more men like you and your father. Point one. The other thing is that, see, it is a reality. See, many things when I said, I jokingly said it because, sometimes the message gets across when you say it in a lighter way. But each of them were very, very important and valid points for us to think about. And it is a fact that society constantly is pointing fingers. Why do you think women run to be such perfectionists and they're so stressed because they're trying to be a good wife also, good mother also, good homemaker also, good executive also, good teacher also. They're trying to do so many because society will point fingers. So I think one thing is that you have to constantly, because society is pulling them in one direction, you have to constantly pull them in the other direction, repeatedly keep saying that, you deserve to do more, you deserve to be more, we are there to support you. Why should you care about what society has to say? And one lovely, in one such forum, one woman walked up to me and said, and this is a reality, she says that when she got married, her kids, and she had kids, they had some health issues, so she couldn't work. So her mother-in-law, father-in-law and husband were working, and all three of them would constantly tell her कि अच्छा हम कमाते हैं ना इसलिए ये घर में बैठ के मुफ्त की रोटियां खाती है. Then she says that my kids grew up and now they are fine, so I started working. Now the same three people are saying to her कि देखा कितनी खराब मदर है, अपने बच्चों को घर पे छोड़ के जा रही है. So वो गाना है ना, कुछ तो लोग कहेंगे, लोगों का काम है कहना. We have to keep on, they are saying this, you have to say the opposite.
It's not like that situation is not changing right now. My mother is independent currently. Like what monthly
Use mic.
what monthly expenses she used to ask for, but finally she feels independent and whenever I'm going, I'm asking for mama if you have some change I need that. So she proudly give me, and whenever she is going for any meeting or any public platform, she represents herself with proud and she says that yes, today I have my point and opinion towards society and towards women as well.
Absolutely, you have changed it, no? And like this, but we have to all persevere. We can't let go. Perseverance. ये छोड़नी नहीं चाहिए बात. करते रहें.
Now I would request all the men to be constantly promote ladies to go be ahead in every aspect of society.
Well done. Well done.
Thank you.